Hey, my name is Will Buchanan and I'm walking all the way across the country to New Hampshire in search of more freedom on a project called the Walk for Liberty. It's October 6th, 2008, day 155. Jake's going with me for his first walk on the Walk for Liberty. One thing which is very important for RV living is making sure you have enough propane. Propane powers your stove, your water heater, and your furnace. Brooke and I have been running low on propane for the last few days and have been having difficulties finding a place to fill up. Finally, we came into a town today which her mapping program listed as having 2 places at which we could get propane. Unfortunately, both of them only sold propane bottles and wouldn't fill up your propane tank, which is what we needed. And Brooke found out that they're not even allowed to fill up their own propane bottles. Apparently, the good people in the Wisconsin state government have most generously taken it upon themselves, on behalf of the people living in Wisconsin, of course, to decide who is and who is not allowed to fill propane containers. To people who see government as an authority, this might seem an excellent idea. They've not only taken the guesswork out of figuring out who is and who is not qualified to fill your propane tank, but they've also made the system virtually foolproof by forbidding anyone who they deem is not qualified from filling your propane tank under threat of punishment. And they've made the entire thing so convenient such that you only have to drive just under 100 miles to fill your propane tank. Sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? Yes, I am being a bit sarcastic, but only because it's all so frustrating. The free market can do a much better job than government can of certifying that somebody is actually qualified to do a job. First, if I decide I want to use the services of an uncertified propane dealer, or an uncertified doctor, or an uncertified restaurant, or even an uncertified home builder, I should be able to do so at my own risk. I am, after all, a free person, aren't I? However, the government has decided that I'm too stupid to make those decisions on my own, so it's taken the choice entirely out of my hands and made it a one-size-fits-all system where the government decides who is qualified or who is not. In contrast, here's how a third-party certification system would work. If the government stepped completely out of the picture and anyone could do business in anything they wanted to, then many people would still naturally be concerned about whether someone were indeed qualified to perform the service that they were selling. Let's take, for example, the case of somebody interested in purchasing medical services. They personally have no clue about who is a qualified doctor. But where there is a demand in the market, companies will come in to satisfy it. Multiple companies will emerge to give their seal of approval as to whether a particular doctor is competent or not. Similar to the Underwriters Laboratory for appliances or QAI for organic food. A doctor would pay to have himself submitted for review by one or more of the certification companies. Why would a doctor pay to have himself submitted for review? Although a person could still go out and purchase the services of an uncertified doctor, A wise person would likely only consider the services of doctors who have been certified by one or more of the certification companies whom they trust. So the doctors are incentivized to pay to submit themselves for certification, or else they might not get any clients. And health insurance companies, such as Aetna or Cigna or Blue Cross, probably wouldn't even put the doctors in their directories unless they've been certified by one or more companies. You might be tempted to think that because so much money is changing hands, corruption would be rife within the certification companies. However, it's the exact opposite. To a certification company, their reputation is not just important to their business, it is their business. If they're corrupt in handing out certifications, then once they get found out, well, they've just lost their entire business to their competition. So therefore they have the highest possible incentive to make the best certification decisions they can. The reason for third-party certification is really all about choice and cost. With government licensing and certification, politics always plays into the equation. Government is often far too restrictive with who they license, and only gives licenses to those who are willing to pony up the big bucks, which not only limits the amount of choice, but also greatly raises the cost for those services. That's part of the reason why medical services, and therefore health insurance, is so expensive now in this country. Third-party certification companies, on the other hand, are incentivized to certify exactly those who are qualified to perform the service, no more and no less, thereby increasing the amount of competent choices, which will in turn raise the quality and lower the costs for everyone. I'm coming into Monroe, Wisconsin, with all the rules and regulations which the government wants to make sure you don't miss. I walked 21.9 miles, and here are my GPS coordinates. This is Will Buchanan for Amazon.walkforliberty.com, signing off.